Have you ever wondered who Donald Trump really is? Not the headlines, not the hashtags, not the heated debates, but the man, the journey, the truth beneath the surface. He was born in Queens, the son of a builder. But he didn't just build buildings. He built a name, a brand, a legacy. From a childhood of strict discipline to the glamour of Trump Tower. From boardrooms and casinos to reality TV and presidential debates, his path has been anything but ordinary. Loved by many, criticized by many more, yet impossible to ignore. Whether you see him as a symbol of success or a sign of division, his story is one of bold moves, sharp turns, and undeniable impact. So today, we step away from the noise and dive into the story behind the man. This is the short biography of Donald Trump. Donald John Trump was born on June 14, 1946, in Queens, New York. He came into the world as the fourth of 5 children in the Trump family, a household that valued hard work, strong values, and bold ambition. His father, Fred Trump, was a successful real estate developer. He built homes across New York for working-class families, structured, practical, and firm in business. Mary Ann, Donald's mother, was a Scottish immigrant. She brought warmth, tradition, and an unwavering sense of pride to the family. Young Donald watched his father build and his mother believe. That balance between discipline and dreams would shape his worldview. As a child, Trump was energetic, curious, loud. He challenged rules and pushed boundaries. Some called it trouble. His parents saw potential. At the age of 13, they made a decision that would change his trajectory. They enrolled him in the New York Military Academy. There, Trump was introduced to a life of discipline, structure, and leadership. It wasn't just about uniforms and marching drills. It was about control, focus, purpose. He learned to channel his fire into goals, into results, into wins. He thrived in the competitive environment. He rose through the ranks, and for the first time, he felt what it meant to lead. Looking back, it wasn't just military school. It was mindset training, the beginning of the business warrior he would later become. From the streets of Queens to the parade grounds of NYC, Trump's early years were a rehearsal for a much larger stage. Every step was a foreshadowing of the legacy he would try to build. After high school, Donald Trump didn't follow the typical path of a privileged New York teen. He attended Fordham University in the Bronx for 2 years, but he wasn't satisfied. He wanted more, bigger, bolder. So he transferred to the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania, one of the top business schools in America. It was there that he earned a degree in economics in 1968. But education, for Trump, was never just about books. It was about learning the game, business, influence, power. And he learned it fast. He studied markets, observed how people moved, and, most importantly, how to negotiate. After graduation, he could have chosen a fresh path, but instead, he stepped directly into the world his father had built, the real estate business. Fred Trump was already successful, but Donald, he didn't just want to maintain, he wanted to expand, to transform. In 1971, at the age of 25, Donald took control of the company. He renamed it the Trump Organization. And from that moment forward, the family name would become something more than a signature on a blueprint. It would become a brand. He set his eyes on Manhattan, the skyline, the challenge, the opportunity. To him, every building wasn't just brick and steel. It was a message, a statement, a declaration of presence. And so began a bold new chapter, one that would redefine not just a company, but an identity. When Donald Trump took over his father's business, he didn't just inherit a company, he inherited a foundation. But Trump wanted to build higher, much higher. He looked beyond Brooklyn and Queens toward Manhattan. Where others saw risk, he saw legacy. In the 1980s, he began acquiring properties in the heart of New York City, and that's when the skyline started to change. Trump Tower rose on Fifth Avenue like a monument to ambition. Glass, gold, granite, not just a building, but a bold message. He didn't stop there. Casinos in Atlantic City, hotels in Chicago, golf courses across the globe. His empire grew from real estate to reality. Because when Trump launched The Apprentice, he didn't just host a show, he became a household name. "You're fired" wasn't just a catchphrase, it was branding genius. It turned him into a symbol of success and controversy. He stamped the Trump name on buildings, books, and boardrooms. To his critics, it was ego. To his supporters, it was vision. But either way, he made sure you couldn't ignore it. From brick and steel to primetime television, Donald Trump built a business that blurred the line between commerce and celebrity. For him, the empire wasn't just what he owned, it was who he became. And the world was watching. For years, Donald Trump stood at the top of the business world. But in 2015, he made a move no one saw coming. He walked down the golden escalator of Trump Tower and announced he was running for president of the United States. To the media, it was a stunt. To the political elite, a joke. But to millions of Americans, it was a rallying cry. He spoke in simple words, direct, unfiltered, disruptive. He promised to make America great again. And whether people loved or hated that phrase, it became a movement. In 2016, against all odds, Donald Trump defeated seasoned politicians, a media machine, and the expectations of the world. He was elected the 45th President of the United States. No military background, no political experience, just a businessman stepping into the most powerful office on earth. During his term, he rewrote the rules. Fives, tax cuts, trade wars, a new approach to diplomacy. He shook Washington to its core. And just when many thought his political journey was over, he came back. In 2024, Donald Trump was re-elected, becoming the 47th president. Only one other man in U.S. history had ever done that. Love him or loathe him, Trump's rise in politics was a phenomenon, a collision of personality, power, and populism. And once again, the world was watching. Donald Trump is not just a name, it's a legacy that divides yet undeniably defines an era. His presidency saw booming stock markets, historic tax reforms, and record-low unemployment, but also fierce opposition, 2 impeachments, and deep national division. To some, he was a voice for the forgotten, to others, a force of chaos. But love him or hate him, Donald Trump changed American politics. Yet behind the podium and power suits, there's the man, the father, the husband, the author. He's been married 3 times and is the father of 5 children. Each of them, from Ivanka to Barron, has grown up in the spotlight. Some followed in his footsteps. Others carved their own paths. At home, Trump is described as private, driven, and fiercely loyal to family. His children have spoken of a man who expected excellence, but also shared lessons over dinner tables and campaign stages alike. 0.5. He's also an author of bestsellers like The Art of the Deal, books that shaped public perceptions long before he stepped into politics. They told the world what he believed in, winning, branding, and never backing down. To his supporters, his life is a blueprint of boldness. To his critics, a cautionary tale. But beyond debate, Donald Trump remains one of the most influential figures of the 21st century. Not just for what he did, but for how deeply he made the world pay attention. Donald Trump is more than just a businessman, more than just a president. He is a force, a symbol, a story still being written. His journey from Queens to the White House proves one thing, that in America, the most unexpected path can still lead to the top. Some admire him, others oppose him, but no one can deny the impact he's made on business, on media, on politics, and on culture itself. He has been called many things: bold, brash, brilliant, controversial. But perhaps, above all, he is unforgettable. This was never just about buildings or boardrooms, never just about rallies or ratings. It was always about the brand, the belief, the battle to win. So whether you agree or disagree with him, whether you cheer or challenge his legacy, one thing remains true: Donald Trump made the world take notice. And maybe that's the mark of every great figure in history. Not that they please everyone, but that they leave no one unchanged. If this story inspired reflection, if it sparked curiosity, don't stop here. Hit that like button, Subscribe for more stories that dig deeper, that reveal the human behind the headlines. Because every name you know began with a story you haven't heard, and the next one might just change how you see the world.